It's the new 106.7 My Talker Radio. Now, back to a kinder, gentler Curtis Wright on the beat.
Don't count on it. 7:06 across southeastern North Carolina. I'm Curtis Wright here on the beat on the new 106.7 FM My Talker Radio. Coming up after the 7:30 break, the professor is with us in studio, Dr. Craig Galbraith. Coming up at 8 o'clock, George Rage, of course, the second part of our Economic Times segment. Lots to talk about today. And in studio with us, you can probably hear him. He's rustling around here. He's got his coffee and he's ready to go. Skip Watkins, Republican candidate for the new Hanover County Commission. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Hey, my dad came in. This is his cup from World War II.
Now, I want to say something from World War II.
It was my father's coffee cup.
That's right out of it. That's a restaurant cup.
He brought it from, he was a cook in the military.
There you go. Right. Well, look at that. That's not one of those like $5,000 coffee mugs from Lockheed, is it? No. Okay. I could say that because I work there. I want our listeners to understand that if you're, in case you're asking yourselves, wow, he's been here like 2 or 3 times. Well, this is a candidate who actually wants to be on the air. So, folks, you might want to keep that in mind. So he's taking the initiative to speak to the people. Where the rest of them are is, I don't know. But my phone. See, I do this during the primary for a reason. I've always done this. There's very few people I call for the first time. Very, very, very few. Because I figure if you're running for office, just like sales, then you're going to go out and knock on the door and make a call. And you've done that, and I appreciate that.
We appreciate you.
Let's talk a little bit about the issues. Running for county commission. Yesterday we had actually the chairman of the New Hanover County Commission, Woody White, who is running for Congress here, talking about how proud he was that they've gotten, so to speak, their fiscal house in order. They've made some significant changes to that, the way they're doing business. That was, I'm paraphrasing how he felt. Right. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the major issues as far as the cost and the financial stability and the financial, say, wherewithal, if you will, efficiency of our New Hanover County government. What's your perspective on that?
I've been studying the budget fairly well. There's, excuse me, about 200,000 plus people, $281 million budget. So if you're a family of 4, $6,800 of our budget affects your family, each person. I'm proud of the approach we've taken, for example, on WAVE. The state is mandated the county is mandated to provide some form of transportation. It's a law, as you know. But the other day I was at a local store and 2 buses pulled up and they were totally empty and they drove off. I call them dinosaurs. Now, I'm not trying to pick on WAVE because they're doing what they've been allowed to do for a long time. But that's just one area of inefficiency, and the county commission...
I want to tell you a story. About 3 years ago, when I first went on a new station here in the community, and I was questioning the amount of money being spent on one of that new location off of Market Street. Right. The head of WAVE called Cumulus and tried to have me fired because I, as a talk show host, that's one, but as a citizen, questioned what my public department or institution or government was doing. This is the arrogance of government, that we don't have the right to question. Now, you're absolutely right. This issue, you know this, Skip, we have been talking about, is this an efficient operation for years?
In no way, it's not.
I mean, you know how many stories I've heard of people saying, hey, man, that bus went by me 3 times and nobody was on it.
Call them dinosaurs. A 50-passenger bus, it takes like $65 an hour to operate one of those things. You've got an average fare. I forgot the number of riders. I do apologize. But the number of riders is in the thousands. But how many of those are repeat riders every day? You and I in the morning and you and I in the afternoon, if 200 days, work days a year. The city, it's an $8 million budget plus. The city subsidizes it, 1.4, 1.5.
But they're going to say to you this, what or if they're not already saying it, you're not compassionate. You're not caring about those people that need transportation. And by the way, we're making an investment for the future. and public transportation is going to become more important in the future. These are all the arguments. You've heard them all.
Right. A friend of mine lives in Pittsburgh. He's a very conservative guy. He and I were together in college, and we were talking this very issue yesterday. And in Pittsburgh, he said they do typically use the public transit, but that's the culture.
That's Pittsburgh.
Exactly. That's the culture. Wilmington, North Carolina never has been, and I probably never will be. And I'm not against WAVE, but let's look at how we can operate it more efficiently. Why can't we get handicapped accessible 14-passenger vans out there?
Yeah, well, we've talked about that for years.
Yeah.
I mean, why are you running these huge buses when you could run a nice van and put 5 or 6 or 7, the 1 or 4 or 5 that you get in the van?
And that kind of goes back to what you said about fiscal responsibility earlier, or whatever the exact question was. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Well, I guess what I need to say is let's put it on the positive side, and that is, if you are elected, then what would you like to do with, say, this issue?
Well, the funding went from $500,000 to $250,000 from the county commission. There's a meeting coming up pretty soon. Do we give them the other $250,000? I wouldn't have to have the meeting. I already know my answer. I'd show up out of courtesy. But my response to WAVE would be, if you want this money, that these taxpayers, that probably 99.5% of them have never even ridden a bus. And I have friends. This was a pet peeve of a lot of my friends when I ran for city council. And so it was. And I was asked this question at a forum. And bar none, everybody was, oh yeah, we love it, oh yeah. And I was the only candidate to say, from alpha to omega, from A to Z, it needs to be analyzed. So my response to WAVE would be, hey, I acknowledge we're required. There is a need of some sort, but let's make it efficient, or don't come back to the trough.
On some of there was another recent issue, and I don't know if you're following this. It's called the spot shooter, or shoot spotter, or whatever.
The sound, the microphone thing.
And this is kind of one of two, and I just want to let my listeners know I'm doing my homework on this and trying to check with several sources. Law enforcement officials want to use the previously awarded $80,000 reported by WECT that was to be used for the purchase of new vehicles to expand the program. So there's tens of thousands and thousands of dollars that New Hanover County apparently commission voted 4-0 on Monday. I happen to know that there are people on the county commission that have absolutely no idea what this program is about, and have not read anything about it, but voted 4-0.
Right.
Is that right? Would you do? I mean, would you? I mean, and just so you know, previously there was a discussion by the district attorney and the county commission to go ahead and put more money into more people in the district attorney's office. Kind of funny that we have lawyers on the county commission, we have a district attorney involved, and it took a citizen to point out to them that was illegal. You can't do that in the state of North Carolina.
Right.
Why is this kind of thing going on?
Well, I think there's sometimes good intentions or people's perceptions. We have to acknowledge we've got a big crime problem in Wilmington, but we've got it across the nation. And how we're going to address it.
Let's come back to your WAVE comment.
Right.
The sheriff's department gets a tremendous amount of money. Tremendous. Besides, I think it gets money from the ABC operations.
There is some money from the ABC that helps do deputies downtown.
Now let's talk about another thing. That the way that the sheriff's department is run, they specifically manage, let's do this, crime investigation and crime enforcement, so that they don't have to pay the full amount due under the law to our public schools. They'll call in agencies, they'll share money with agencies, and that allows them to not pay our public schools.
Right.
Is that right?
Everything that's in Wilmington needs to stay in Wilmington. And our sheriff's department, I'm not picking sides on a candidate because I have to be, obviously I'm a Republican and I look for
I'm not picking a candidate. I'm saying that this has been going on for a long time, of finding ways to get around and manipulate the system and the laws so that we don't have to pay the public schools what's due, because we get fines and forfeitures from them.
Right, and we've got it, and we've got to do that.
That comes out of your pocket as if you're a county commissioner, does it not?
It comes out of your pocket as a taxpayer.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it affects your budget.
Yes, and we'll talk about that.
Okay, we'll be right back with Skip Watkins. We'll get focused here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
They say...
Okay, we're back live here on the beat. Every time he's in studio, I have so much I want to talk about. You know, there's Skip. You know well. I've been involved here, of course, in the community for 20 years, but I haven't been as involved in county matters and city matters as I used to be in the past, and I still believe there's so much that can be done. And I realize that I know Mark Benson corrected me the other day and said, Curtis, we aren't the second smallest county. But here's
I thought we were geographically.
Well, I thought we were too. But here's the situation. This consolidation, we've had debates over this. When you drive down 3rd Street and you look at those two buildings sitting side by side, a picture's worth 1,000,000 words. In this case, it's worth hundreds of millions of words, in my mind, in the fact that we duplicate so much. And I don't get it. I mean, I understand it's great for government workers. It's great to have this industry called government. But for us, the taxpayers, I mean, years ago, I was the one who fought with a group of people to have the county commissioners' meetings videotaped. And we found a way that we were going to bring in UNCW, their film crew, maybe even Cape Fear Community College, get it all done for free as part of their curriculum.
Right.
Oh, no, we can't do that. And then we said, well, okay, well, how about plan 2? We'll go over and you guys can share and have a combined department with the city. Oh, no, can't do that. We said, well, you got the UNCW studios, you got the public school studios, you got the City of Wilmington studios, you got the New Hanover County that's created now their own broadcast company.
Right.
But that's just one example of things that I just don't understand why we are not.
When you're talking like that, you're echoing.
Well, why aren't we? Why aren't we looking at how we can consolidate? I don't know what the word is, but we're spending a lot of money we don't need to spend. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. In my opinion, geographically, whether we're the smallest, second smallest, third smallest, it doesn't really matter. Look at Charlotte-Mecklenburg. They're not by no means small, but they've accomplished some level of
efficiency.
Efficiency, yes, and that's the word we have to look at. Our budget's $281 million for the state. I mean, for the county. I think the city was $140 million or something like that. So, we're knocking on $500 million. $400 and some million.
Then add on to it the bonds that we put out there, and we spend that money and borrow it and spend it.
13% of the county budget pays debt. I mean, so. Yes, there has to be departments. The attempt with Cape Fear Public Utility Authority to do what they did, I would have never have personally voted for that consolidation. As far as an authority, yes, they should have been one department. I have no problem with that. I think our fire departments, both county and city, have done a wonderful job of working together. No, they've not merged management at this point. And whether ultimate consolidation as a county and city government would ever happen, I don't know. But I do know, I refuse to believe that there's not some economies of scale that could be brought. Planning now, for example, planning is done under under one authority now, so they kind of share that. So I refuse to believe there's not some efficiencies there, and that would be one of the things I look at. Because if you go back to both my city council race, which I call it my nearly successful one, the cooperation between the city and the county and the efficiency, why not?
You do understand why you lost.
Yeah.
It was to protect the status quo of what goes on inside that city, that club, and it is a club. It is to protect that whole environment, that whole operation, the way business quote has been done. I think in the county we've done a great job to finally come out of that kind of mentality over a number of years. And I do give credit to, say, Woody White for finally looking and talking about and debating things that we never did before.
He's not afraid to do it.
But I think we've got a lot more that we can do.
That was one of the reasons I ran for city council, because I saw we had accomplished that in the county level, and I was hopefully we could get together and do that in the city, and it didn't work. And you're correct. I was told the night at the results that by a high-level Democrat, you had us scared, and we turned the spigot on. That was almost the phrase that I got. So, we did, but we accomplished a lot. There's a couple of things that I actually pushed that they're actually doing now, that's minor issues. But you mentioned it in the previous hour.
And please don't take that as a slight.
No.
What it is that's the sad part, that Wilmington is suffering because we cannot get new blood in. Experienced blood, by the way. People with a different background, with knowledge, with experience. And that's why Wilmington is what? Trying to go through a new branding and go through all this crap. I mean, but on the other side, the county is much different because I know about 85% of it is mandated on you.
Right.
But you still have that power and influence of how do you go about fulfilling those responsibilities.
And you said it, and I want to just step back a second. Your previous hour when I was driving in, you were talking about what's happening in Washington, for example, what's happened in Raleigh. Now, people, if you know your listeners, I'm assuming the majority of them are like-minded, like you and I. I mean, there may be a few enemy agents out there listening, but if you folks out there want the same old thing to happen in Washington and Raleigh, well, Raleigh's corrected now, but if you want the same old thing, then don't vote for me and don't vote for a candidate that's Republican along the lines. I was told the other night that Jim Hunt, Governor Hunt, he is raising the 10 to 15 $15 million to target House of Representative members to trying to get the majority back. He's not even worrying about the Senate, and so there's
because it's the money.
Yes.
Government is big money. That's why
Wave
doesn't care about efficiency. Wave cares about numbers of employees, numbers on the funding and the grants, and how many trucks are on the street or buses, whatever. I'm sorry to have to say it. You know that. That's how it works.
The last two routes they added to the one to the North Campus and the one to the beaches. If Carolina Beach had wanted a bus route, then they'd be ponying up on the money. They don't want it. Those two routes, however well intended, quote unquote, somebody might have meant, were never studied. They were never funded before. It was a whim. Hey, let's run a bus to the North Campus.
Skip, we all know that there's an organization that does not produce. Okay, it does not produce economic growth and expansion. It's called government. It's a cost of doing business.
It is.
But yet in our community, and people just don't seem to understand how detrimental this is. Government is the largest employer. Therein is the problem. Now, everybody wants quality services. There's no doubt about it. Let's have services at a level that we need to meet our needs. But to have your government the number one employer?
We've got to whittle down the budget, and whether it's consolidation of services, whether it's more efficiency. And you're correct. The current commission has done a great job, and even the couple of the prior commissions. The mentality has been of accountability, of some fiscal responsibility. I'll give credit to Ted Davis. Sometimes he make you mad, sometimes he make you glad. I don't know how. He and I go back a long ways. And I was talking to him one night about something that I had a passion for, and he looked at me and said, "No, I'm not going to vote for that." And whether you like him or not, he did stand in the gap and not spend dollars wastefully. There were some questions on some other things, but Ted Davis. Whether it's a Ted Davis, whether it's a Woody White, whether it's any conservative-minded individual, are we always going to agree? Or you and I always going to agree? No. You're going to call me up one day on the air, and I'm going to come and take my whipping. But 90% of the time, you and I are going to agree, and we've got to go back to that. We've got to quit worrying about this person won't stand on this exact line. Victory is in the aggregate. We've got to keep a conservative mentality in Wilmington, which we didn't get it in the city. We've got to keep it in the county. We've got to keep it in the district. We've got to keep it in the state. And we've got to take it over in the nation. We've got to get the
look
Senate.
At the city of Wilmington, and you and I talked about this when you were running. And people, sadly, they're going to pay for the outcome of the last election.
Yes.
Here they are, and they want another bond to fix what? Infrastructure. That is the core responsibility of government. I told people this before. Watch out. They're going to come back for another hit because they never pay as they go. They never plan ahead. They're in crisis mode. When you live in a community where you can get away with, as a leader, oh, well, didn't work out, got a problem, we didn't put money aside, but that's okay, we got a bond.
Hey.
The mentality is crisis, pass a bond. And if we can get the county, I think they really have gotten out of that mentality as well. Pay as we go, and your first response, as Ted's was, no. Now prove to me why I'm wrong.
Exactly. And by the way, we will have a nice park on the north end down there in the city where the baseball is going to be.
$4.5 million plus, because the budget goes up.
Forever and ever, amen.
Then we give away the piece of property next to the convention center for 10 cents on the dollar. But this is what we've been. I'm glad to see we're fighting it in the county.
Yes, we will continually.
Because the numbers are bigger.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time. We got to get you back.
We'll be back.
See, you and I, we need like an hour. We can't do this half an hour thing.
Well, but I'll bring a bigger coffee cup.
You've got a fundraiser. You want to put the shout out on that?
Yeah, tomorrow night, some friends of ours, Corky and Debbie Powers. If you're interested, contact Sam Ibrahim at the. Or you can help get up with me. Get up with me. I'm not gonna give my cell phone number out yet. I don't want that out.
Website for the
Skip Watkins, number 4, commission.
Okay, Skip Watkins for commission. Check it out. Get on board, and we'll have Skip back. We have lots more to talk about. I'm Curtis Wright. Stay with us.
This is the Blaze Radio.